Ready?
Okay.
All right. This is Brian Burke. You do the show. You take one.
Okay. Hello, I am Brian, and welcome to Artsaganza, the show. Here we will be reviewing movies, video games, music, TV shows, books, and of course art. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, joining us. Sorry. I'm Brian Burke. I'm 35 years old. I have autism and PTSD, which affects a lot of the things I do, but I live with it. I'm a filmmaker, artist, do a bunch of stuff. That's just some of the things I do. One of the funnier things about my autism is I'm not that smart. A lot of people with autism have a genius level intelligence at some degree. They might totally fail at everything else, but they can do math perfectly. I unfortunately don't have that. I guess my main skill might be my artwork or my writing.
Hey, I'm Terry Burke. I'm Brian Burke's mother, and this painting behind me, the vase, is the one I won the blue ribbon for. It's the first time ever, so I was excited about that, and so I won that, and a $7 check.
Trying to get a little arts organization going that I've got some people interested in, and establish a career for myself. I think getting on YouTube is a great goal. You know, you guys were able to get on YouTube. I think that's a great way to meet people and get other people involved, because I've been trying to go around with this art show, and I've only gotten a couple people involved.
He is the type of person that can sit down at a blank canvas and say, I'm going to paint my feelings, and they're going to look this way. I'll use these people or this vehicle. And he does that with not only with art, with film as well.
My name is Hal Burke, and I'm Brian Burke's father. At age 6, Brian started seeing child psychologists, and at a very young age demonstrated an interest in artwork. And I bring up his artwork because that was his escape. His artwork was an escape while he was going through these issues that we didn't really know what they were. And I should point out that throughout his grade school, he was in special education because of this unknown thing called Asperger's, and they didn't identify it at that time. But and not that he had a learning disorder, but just that he didn't fit into the social realm of the classroom.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm Brian.
Good to see you, Brian.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Brush today.
So the first thing we want to talk about with our production meeting today is your vision for your show.
Okay.
Tell us your vision.
I'm hoping that also this shows people what people with autism can do. That's another goal, I'd say, that a lot of people, I was, kind of given up on by a lot of people. And so this is kind of saying you can still go forward, and maybe somebody watches this who has autism or has something similar to that, and they can be inspired by that. I'm going to have one part of it that's going to be me and possibly a few other people reviewing movies, video games, TV shows, and music videos even. Another part would be discussing part of my condition. Then doing events and original films, which is another part. I want Artsaganza to be a program for people.
So we're just gonna get going today to get your show going.
Okay.
And camera's just going to catch whatever we catch.
Okay.
We're just here to put together the show as you envision it.
Okay. The PTSD, we didn't know totally that I had this until recently. They ran some tests over the years, and it really became official like a year ago.
So he really had a lot of artistic recognition during school, but because of bullying that took up a lot of his energy, he couldn't pursue his art as much.
The special education and the other things certainly affected my education, but the attacks, I'm not sure what to say about them. It was people.
Were they physical?
Yeah, they were physical and psychological.
But these are pictures of me I found in an old yearbook. That's where I got this hat when I was 13
Oh, really?
at Battletech in Chicago. I don't think that's there anymore.
Well, Battletech was a game in River North. It was an amusement section there at River North. And I took him there, and he spent a lot of time on this. I guess if you reach certain battle levels or certain strategies, and you win this hat. And he won the hat, and he was so proud of it that, there's a lot of things we did together as a father and son. There's a lot of things I wish we would have done together.
But that's the hat. That's the same hat. That's where my dad bought it for me. So I thought that was kind of interesting story. That's where that came from. I don't know if I still have that shirt anywhere. Today I thought depending on how much time we have, the first episode I thought would be talking about the autism films.
Okay.
And then an introduction too, saying who I am, what the show is, what we're hoping to do, because I'm hoping to get other people involved. And people say, oh, I'd like to help with your show too, or work on some film with you too.
Okay.
So
And then let's get started with it. You know,
Okay.
let's roll.
Okay.
All right, let's
Sounds
do it.
good to me. So I'll need this.
They'll give you a signal when 8 minutes comes up. We'll wait like 2 minutes for 2 minutes left, which kind of keeps you on a 10-minute schedule. So and it's totally fine if you mess up, keep going. Good, take it. So, you come to this or
Put it like right here.
yeah, actually, it'll be.
Brian, he was in an advanced art class when he was in high school, and he got into a difficult situation with his art teacher. And so she didn't like him and he didn't like her. And ultimately, he wasn't in the class anymore. I found kind of funny because if you're in advanced art, and then do you not be an advanced artist anymore? I mean, it's kind of like if you're in advanced science, do you no longer have the brains to stay in advanced science? He got on the school bus and he just started there. And he went to the back of the bus and they said, you can't sit here, the older kids. So Brian walked forward and somebody else said, you can't sit here. And Brian just finally said, because he related this to me, he just said, okay, fine, just tell me where I can sit. And that's where he was coming from.
Well, I went through a few years of attacks from some people in the neighborhood. I had to eventually leave school because of it. I had to drop out of high school. The special education and the other things certainly affected my education, but the attacks, I'm not sure what to say about them. It was people.
Were they physical?
Yeah, they were physical and psychological. People prank called us, death threats, came by our house, smashed up our front lawn. Tried to kick in. They didn't actually get in the house, but they smashed up the place, threw garbage on our front lawn and stuff.
Why did they do that?
Well, that's the complicated thing. Being the Wiccan thing wasn't the only reason, because some people said I was gay. I'm not gay, but that was something that they certainly went through. That was a charge they gave against me.
A lot of the Wiccan thing with Brian was also a mechanism to kind of protect himself.
I always felt that Brian needed a connection with a higher power. but I think that he needed that in his life to overcome a lot of the hurt and pain that he's gone through.
These people were basically neo-Nazis, white supremacists, people really into, they were Christians, some of them, because I know that they had prayer meetings and stuff like that at school. But not to be a judgment against all Christians, you know. A lot of the teachers I heard saying stuff, encouraging, not saying attack Brian, you know, not saying it that way, but encouraging their behavior.
His way of escaping from the other realm into this unknown world that he thought might cause other people like, oh, well, you know, where's he going with this or that? And to the point where it got a little scary at times because the kid would wear a black trench coat to school.
And it just was so bad I had to leave because I was coming to school with weapons on me and stuff and saying something's going to happen. You know, one of these days there's going to be a shooting or something like that. But the reasoning for why these people did it, it's kind of hard to say. Just that you're different, we don't like you, you're not an American, you don't belong in... I heard that a couple times. I heard I don't belong in this country. Why don't I die? Why am I here? I'm contaminating the place. I mean, I have to take medication to help me sleep at night because I do still have nightmares about this. So the PTSD is still there. And sometimes things remind me of it. When my mother was very sick recently, the memories came back big time. Usually, I didn't say usually, a lot of the time I don't think about it. But when that happened, when it was under that much stress because she was in a coma and she was dying, I mean, they literally said she was going to die. The memories of that, I mean, I start hearing things. Like, you know, and you're going, it's not real. Am I hearing things? Is somebody trying to break in? That's PTSD. You start to relive the experience because they did try to break in. TV shows I liked, people that were influencing, but people that, bad influences, you might say too, things that hurt. So that's what's on the outside of this. And it opens up. On the inside are color photos of me and my family. Right there. And going around the sides, which is a photo montage as well. That's just me and my family there. And then this is, I don't like this drawing, but that's a drawing of me with a lot of influences and symbols, and it deals with anger, joy, hope, despair, changes. It's kind of a mix mash of images. There's a store called Frugal Muse that has these open mic events. That's not specifically an Artsaganza event, but they're helping promote it. So they let me come in there and speak a little bit about it and hand out flyers and stuff like that. So that's an event too, of inviting people, hey, let's go over to the open mic event. We'll make it into an event.
What is that? That was not okay, you can all sit down. Everybody give a big round of applause for Brian.
I'm not set. Thank you. Hello, everyone can hear me okay? Sorry about my phone going off. This has a little visual thing with it, which I'll show you in a minute. This is a tribute to our dog Shannon. There are two things I will never forget about Shannon. One is the first day I met her, and the other is right before she died. I was about 6 years old and I was at my grandparents' house. My grandfather and father called me over to a large box they were next to. I peered over the edge and saw something moving around in the box. It turned out to be a baby German Shepherd. It was Shannon. I was very surprised. No one told me they had a new dog. No one told me they had a new dog. A few minutes after that, I got to carry her around. She was very friendly and it was a very happy day. For many years, when I would come over to their house, Shannon would frequently curl up beside me on the couch. But then one day something very different happened. It was close to the end of her life. She was a lot older and a lot slower then. She came into the room and just stared at me. She never did that before. I looked at her and petted her head, and I felt that she knew. Somehow she knew that this was the end for her, and that this was her way of saying goodbye to me. I then said goodbye to Shannon. It was not long after that that my grandparents put her to sleep. Shannon was not my grandparents' first dog, but she was the one I knew the longest, and I was over there so often it was as though she was my dog. I still miss her to this day. That's me and Shannon. Shortly after she was born. And then this is Shannon towards the end of her life with my grandfather. So she grew to be much bigger.
So she was your muse for this poem.
Yeah, I didn't use the word. Sorry. That's it. Thank you.
Shannon may have symbolized something with Brian because Shannon didn't like being left alone. And Shannon would chew at the door in the basement when my dad put the dog down or if they had to go somewhere. So much so that he even built a maze in the basement. And Shannon, which was a lab, just had numerous ways of maneuvering the maze and get out of it. And Brian was really tickled by this, Shannon, not wanting to be locked up and left alone. Maybe Brian identified with that, I don't know.
I'm going to change this a little. I'm not going to draw all this stuff.
There's a woman who helps me get the word out, and she teaches the art class I take. And she helps promote it, and she helps talk about it, and has had me speak at things.
Originally, we started off kind of doing more basic services, food, shelter, clothing stuff, and now we have empowerment services like our literacy program, doing GED and English as a second language, and tutoring for people, our computer classes, our jobs assistance program to help people find employment, and our art program, which is what I am responsible for.
Kind of just looking at it now. I think I got all the main drawing done, so then I'm ready. I usually finish a drawing before I add the colors to it, but sometimes I do it different ways. Mom does her paintings a lot different. You start without it finished. You just start painting it.
I draw with the brush.
Yeah, but sometimes there's not a full outline for it. Like I've seen some stuff where you don't have the full outline of the detail of it.
Right.
It's much more blurry, kind of. I'm really picky about it.
He will not sell any of his stuff. He'll put not for sale. If it's on display, not for sale. And he'll make a photocopy and give it to somebody, but obviously that's not as good as a canvas.
The opening, I was hoping to have kind of an animated thing and have some opening music. And I had a couple.
I saw that it was what was the song? It was by Grand Theft Audio.
Yeah, I brought that with. Yeah, I was figuring this is in sections, so I could do like one page, and then we'll stop between each page.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. This is Brian Burke's YouTube show. This is take one.
Okay. Hello, I'm Brian, and welcome to Artsaganza, the show. Here we will be reviewing movies, video games, music, TV shows, books, and of course art.
Brian's inspired a lot by history, number one, and a lot by people who have done great things, like Hal talked about, people overcoming the odds. And he has a great admiration for those types of people. And he just enjoys that part of life.
This is about my family heritage, which it's a little blurry. They don't look too good. But it's about, these are all the different countries and kind of conflicts that my family came from. It's me in the center with my mother, my father, and then their parents up there. But I don't like it. It doesn't really look like them. So that part. But I like the flags. I think that came out good. And the flags symbolize different things. There's a swastika. I'm not endorsing that. I'm just saying that's part of it. This is a weird painting. I started this on one canvas and it became too big, so I had to put on two. And this is part of a story I'm writing, so this is kind of the cover of the book in a way. And it's called Apotheosis. Apotheosis, by the way, is Greek for to become divine, kind of like to achieve sainthood. It's a similar phrase to that, but much older. and it deals with these characters who are dealing with people from the afterworld or heaven come back into our world, and then they're crisscrossing between the two worlds. And so all these famous people start showing up, and it has both benefits and bad sides to it. One of the things in my story is that, I don't know if people know these characters, but there's a woman named Queen Boadicea. She was a legendary queen of England like 2,000 years ago, fought the Romans. And I have that she's married to Napoleon Bonaparte. And they're a couple now. And they're not necessarily bad guys. They're just another character that you meet. You're meeting the characters, and kind of apotheosis is a process. It's this thing that's happening. And they have to come to terms with it and come to terms with living and dying.
What do you think about putting...
We are setting up my YouTube channel. That's pretty exciting for a show, Artsaganza. I'm Brian Burke, and it's October 16th, 2014, Thursday. Not enough characters. Somebody has that too. I tried Brian 1978. Okay, I need 8 characters for the password. It's not 8. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. My name is Brian Burke, and welcome to Artsaganza, the show. Okay. It's a new internet show. We'll be reviewing. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's on. And then this is for the upcoming video mixes, and I talk about, okay, here's what I need, here's where the titles might be, here's the ending words and the band played on, and then I say thanks for watching. I have a spoiler warning on there, and then I just started this one, but that's for the next film I'm working on, so. Well, I'm wearing a Transformers t-shirt, the old Transformers from the 1980s. I do not like the new Transformer movies at all. I gave them a chance. I haven't seen the new one yet. I've seen all the rest of them, mostly on video, but I did see one of them in the theater, which I regret paying for. I have on a hat here from Battletech, which the whole outfit kind of symbolizes a mix of lots of stuff that are who I am. That's kind of why I'm wearing this. But I may change it. I'm going to be wearing different shirts. I have a Blade Runner shirt, which I'm going to wear for the Blade Runner thing. I have different shirts. I have ideas for different shows. And as for some of these buttons, well, they have various things on them, kind of things of interest. Some of them are just funny. They're there for no reason other than, oh, they look funny. Most of the other hats I had didn't look as cool as this. I have an Indiana Jones hat, but that I got when I was very little. It does not fit anymore, so couldn't wear that anymore.